Good morning, children. Welcome to another week at virtual Gorsey Bank Primary School. This week means that you've now been away from school for 5 whole weeks. It will feel like a long time for some of you. Certainly feels like a long time for us. You're all missed by the teachers. Hopefully you're all missing school at least a little bit, if nothing else, for seeing your friends. There's new learning from home packs available on the website now for you to get stuck into, and hopefully you've all managed to see some of the online lessons. There's a couple more online today for maths and either Spag or phonics, and there'll be a couple more on Wednesday. You will have all got the chance to see your new curriculum maps, your new summer term bookshelves last week. I always think it's quite nice to see them all together. I like to see what other children in the school are looking at, so you can see all around me here are the other year groups curriculum bookshelves, and you can have a look at those on the website. We'll start the week as usual with a story. This week's story is going to be by a brilliant author and illustrator called Tom Percival. Some of you will know some of his work already. There's some pictures on the screen now. That's a picture of him at the top there. And the story of his we're going to read today is none of these. It's called Ruby's Worry. Ruby's Worry by Tom Percival. Ruby loved being Ruby. She loved to swing up high, and she loved to explore wild, faraway places. Sometimes she even went all the way to the very bottom of the garden. Ruby was perfectly happy until one day she discovered a worry. It wasn't a very big worry. In fact, it was so small that at first Ruby hardly noticed it. But then the worry started to grow. Each day it got a little bigger. It just wouldn't leave her alone. It was there at breakfast, staring at her over the cereal box. And it was still there at night when she cleaned her teeth. The funny thing was that no one else could see Ruby's worry, not even her teacher. So Ruby pretended she couldn't see it either. She tried to carry on as if everything was normal, but it just wasn't. The worry was always there, stopping her from doing the things that she loved. Ruby wondered if the worry would ever go away. What if it didn't? What if it stayed with her forever? Ruby didn't realise, but she was doing the worst thing you can ever do with a worry. She was worrying about it. Now the worry was enormous. It could barely fit in the kitchen at tea time. It filled up half of the school bus, and it took up whole rows at the cinema. The worry became the only thing that Ruby could think about, and it seemed like she would never feel happy again. Then one day, something unexpected happened. Ruby noticed a boy sitting alone at the park. He looked how she felt, sad. And then she noticed something else, something hovering next to him. Could it be a worry? It was. Ruby realised that she wasn't the only person with a worry after all. Other people had them too. She asked the boy what was on his mind, and as he told her, the strangest thing happened. His worry began to shrink. Then Ruby did the best thing you can ever do if you have a worry. She talked about it. As the words tumbled out, Ruby's worry began to shrink until it was barely there at all. Soon, both of their worries were gone. Finally, Ruby felt like herself again. Of course, that wasn't the last time that she ever had a worry. Everyone gets them from time to time. But now that she knew how to get rid of them, they never hung around for long. was Ruby's Worry by Tom Percival. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm not going to get you to take any time to think about what that was about, because I think it's fairly obvious what it was about. What I would ask you to do is just think about for yourselves how good you are at sharing with people when you're worried, especially with everything that's going on at the moment. There is a lot to think about, but I think one of the really important things, we just look back at the book, this little line at the end where it says, of course, that wasn't the last time she had ever had a worry. Everyone gets them from time to time, and everybody does, especially with all the things that are going on at the moment. Everybody gets worried about something sometimes, and if you don't, I'm just going to flip to another page, if you're not sharing it, it's very easy for it to feel like this, like it's just you. And it's really important that you do take the time to share that. Key Stage 2, you've probably been looking at that story and thinking it's a little bit young for you, but let's face it, you will all get worried about stuff as well. Might not be anything that's related to this story. Year 6, for example, you might be thinking about your change into high school. There is always things that we always get worried about. So please do think about, who do I share with? Is it friends? Is it your teachers? Is it your parents? Is it brothers or sisters? But just reflect on how important that is, and make sure you do continue to do that. Just going to finish this week by talking about a really exciting book that's coming out today, actually. And I say book, you can actually download it from the internet. So you can ask Mum or Dad to go and find it for you. There's a link in the newsletter today. And it's called The Book of Hopes, and it's been put together by an author called Katherine Rundell, who some of you will know because she wrote books like The Explorer and The Good Thieves. And she's got in touch with 100 different authors and illustrators, poets, specifically to try and put together a few bits of work, just to spread a bit of hope and optimism amongst the people who read it. There's a few examples of what's on the page at the moment, so you can see it's not all big bits of reading that you need to do. Some of it is just images. The one at the top, the green one up here, is by an illustrator called Rob Biddulph, who some of you will know has actually been doing some live draw along stuff, so some of you might have been doing that. The other one across on the top there is by Stephen Lenton, who hopefully lots of you will remember actually came into school last year. He's also the illustrator of the Nothing to See Here Hotel, which Year 3 is on your bookshelf for this term. And the one at the bottom there with a little girl and the elephant is actually an illustration by Tom Percival himself, whose book we've just read. So you can see the link in the newsletter. Ask Mum or Dad to download it. You can dip in and out of it as much as you want to, just to read the little poems or little stories that are in there, or just look at the cartoons like you've got in front of you now. Okay, I will leave you at that point. Stay safe, look after each other, be kind to each other, and as ever, we are all hoping that we will see you again very soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.